Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, and I am so delighted to be able to share this information about unconditional love with you today. If you're anything like me, you believed that love was weak and it meant that you could be run over, that you had to just be kind and loving to everyone and agree to any of their demands, and that because I could feel everyone, I also could feel that they were hurting. I didn't know what I was doing at that time, so I assumed that, well, if they're hurting when I'm around, and they always appear to be hurting when I'm around, it must be my fault. So I was taking on a great deal of responsibility that didn't belong to me because I could feel what they were feeling, and I didn't know what that meant. And I was also wearing a sign that probably said, kick me, take advantage of me, and do anything you'd like to me because I'm trying to be a loving being. Well, that is not operating out of unconditional love. That is love from our human self, and that kind of love is weak. It doesn't have the power of unconditional love, and it is subject to your emotions. And certainly, while I was sharing that kind of love, I was trying to be a kind, loving, good person. I was giving everything I had and then becoming empty and often quite resentful because what I was getting in return wasn't love. It was being taken advantage of and other things that just didn't feel good. So today, let's take a look at what our guides have to share with us about real love, unconditional love, the kind of love that God pours forth upon this planet continuously without any kind of judgment. And let's understand why that kind of love is so powerful. When you really step in to unconditional love, you become extremely powerful. And you also stop getting taken advantage of because you understand that's not love. So let's look at what they have to share with us. Why is love the ultimate superpower? Dearest hearts, we write to you on the eve of your Valentine's Day about love. Not the romantic love experienced by individuals, but the unconditional love that is showered upon one and all by Source. We want you to be able to dispel the notion of unworthiness and step into the power that is provided to you when you access unconditional love. And if you remember nothing from this call today, understand that when you are trying to walk in human love, feeling unworthy often comes with it because you are trying to do the impossible, which is to please people that are not pleased with themselves. And when you cannot please them, you automatically feel unworthy, undeserving, something's wrong with you. And they may tell you it's your fault. Well, it's not your fault. It's just that you were looking on the outside and instead of going within and cultivating that unconditional love. And they continue, free will determines whether you receive this bounty or shut yourselves off from it. However, we ask that before you begin signing values to it, such as I am worthy of receiving, or I am not worthy of receiving, or they are not worthy of receiving, that you step away from your individualized interpretation of who may be deserving and into the unlimited and unconditional expanse of the Creator. First, you must understand that Source is the source for all, for that which you have labeled good or deserving, and for that which you have labeled bad and therefore undeserving. In the mind and heart of the Creator, all are equal. Some have allowed more of the Creator's love and wisdom to flow through them to a greater degree than others. But all have access to this love. The Creator does not, nor should you, look at what you're thinking, how you're acting, or what you're saying and determine how much loving support you should receive. The Creator's love is being poured forth continuously and unceasingly upon the earth and all of its beings without judgment or censure. Understand, God is not judging you or finding that you don't measure up. That is a construct of your own mind. It is purely mythical thinking. It is not a true belief. It's a limiting belief, but it is not a true belief. It is you who look at yourselves and others and declare, if it were up to me, they, would not be deserving or worthy of receiving my love at this time. I or they are not acting in a way that is deserving of my love. This is a purely human viewpoint and does not reflect the heart or mind of the Creator who looks upon all as worthy. Yes, the Creator does see that some have lost their way, that some appear confused or maybe operating under the illusion that they are separate and that their actions are solely meant for the benefit of themselves. But they are not shunned. They are encouraged through situations, people, and circumstances to awake to the marvelous whole of which they are a part. No one is ever judged to be too far gone to have value, but each one is encouraged to find their center point from which they can find their way back to oneness and union with all. We've got to stop judging people by their actions and be the force that brings unconditional love to them. Just let go of what they're doing. It may be horrendous. It doesn't mean we agree with what they're doing, but it means that that soul is still deserving of love. You take whatever action you need to take to prevent them from causing hurt or harm, but you do not say they are not worthy of receiving unconditional love. Wrap them in a blanket of pink and gold light. Your unconditional love, that energy that you're sending out through that blanket of pink and gold light, will do more to help heal that person than any of your judgment or censure. Now, if God is not causing the separation, then you might ask, well, who is to blame for the hatred and unrest that is so prevalent? As always, the answer rests within each one of you. The gift of free will is a magnificent opportunity and responsibility for all. Each one of you has the right to close yourselves off from union with God and from your fellow beings, to experience separation and feel superior, inferior, and even to be ridiculed. But none of you will face a locked door when you come to the exploration of your separateness. As you make the determination from wherever you are that life is much too difficult to be navigated on your own, Source will be there to greet you and flood your soul with as much love as you will accept. You may feel as though Source has been absent in the past and had left you to fend for yourself, but you will be incorrect. It was you that was holding Source at arm's length while trying to do it on your own. It was part of your learning, growing, and maturing phase where you learned the limitations of your way and the benefits of partnering with Source. Now, many people will say, how can you be so sure? How can you believe that? I don't think, looking at the way this person is acting or the way my life was going, that God was there or even interested in what was happening. It was so bad. First of all, you have to remember, You have chosen specific events before you even came into this life that would help you grow. You were excited about those challenges because you knew it would give your soul the most opportunity for growth. Sometimes we fall on our face and fail miserably. I know I have failed many times. Other times, we just feel completely empowered. Those are the times that we're allowing God to work with us and through us. However, I learned more from the times that I failed than I did when everything seemed to be going perfectly. I grew more. I worked harder. I reached further, deep inside, to find out how I could get it right. I am delighted by the times that I was allowed to fail instead of being rescued before I understood what it was that I was being taught. And for those people that go to their grave being angry, resentful, mean, hateful, understand this is just a mini tiny millisecond in the amount of lifetimes that we have. So perhaps their decision in this life was to experience what it would be like to be a hateful, even evil person. It's part of our experience of how we don't want to be. We cannot fully expand into our completeness, which is our union with God, if we've not tried on a bunch of different ways of being. So allow yourself to experiment, but know that God is always with you. And whenever you feel like, okay, I'm done experimenting, I need God's help, open the door and let that love come flooding in. Now they continue. Second, when you open yourself to God's unconditional love, you allow all of the limitations you had placed upon yourself to be washed clean. Those limiting beliefs and negative thinking cannot be sustained when they're bathed in the luminescence that is the love of God. When you allow yourself to be continuously washed clean by the purity of the love that is being sent to you and through you, the false illusions you were holding about yourself and others no longer find traction. You begin feeling so good, so supported, and so accepted that you can no longer find the energy to generate or support the negative thoughts you were thinking about yourself and others. Your mind begins to naturally gravitate toward the what's right, what's good, and how I can create even more good, and away from the, oh no, what's next thinking you were participating in when you felt frightened because you perceived yourself to be alone in a hostile world. When you do not partner with God, you can feel isolated and terribly afraid. This world is a tough training ground. When you open up to God, you will have everything that you could possibly desire. It may not be all the material things you thought you wanted when you were fearful, but when you find that you've partnered with God and have become so much more, you're no longer as materially dependent, and some of those desires may fall away. Third, you become the uplifter. When love is freely flowing to you and through you, you cannot look at your world, yourself, and others in the same way. Instead, you look to the path of least resistance, to the way in which you can increase your joy and delight. Because you are constantly looking for and finding joy, your vibration becomes elevated and more that is joyful in nature is attracted to you. Those around you will also be exposed to your joy, your ebullience, and your enthusiasm, and they too will begin focusing on all that is right. The more of you who are focused on joy, on love, and on oneness, the more of the energy prevails, and the easier it becomes to maintain that state of bliss where all you require and desire begins to flow to you in a steady, miraculous stream. It's as if you're riding a wave of never-ending good fortune, for you have raised yourself to the vibrational level where all desires reside. God is holding nothing back from you. God is not trying to punish you, but you must get to the vibrational place where you are a match for that which you desire. If you are hanging out in the low vibration of anger, resentment, fear, guilt, shame, blame, I can go on, then the thing that you are desiring, which is to be found in the place of love, joy, and peace, is not accessible to you. You must go to where that desire resides if you are going to receive. Fourth, when you are overflowing with love and experience, the immense peace of the highest vibration, you are automatically grateful. Gratitude is no longer something you must remember to focus upon. It is now your new state of being. No one will have to remind you to be thankful, to be grateful, to be in a state of pure joy. You will live in that state. You will remember how delighted you are to thank God for everything you receive. You will understand that you are a partner, not a puppet. You are a partner. But gratitude will just pour forth because it feels so good to be in the place of unconditional love. Unconditional love will be flowing to you and through you. Harmony will reside within and without, and gratitude for the ascended state of being pours forth from you in a steady stream that blesses your own energetic body as well as the energy of all those you encounter. Everyone, but first you, because you're the one that is flowing the energy, but everyone will be blessed by your presence. In short, your choice to let more unconditional love in has made you a superhuman, one who floats just above the earth in a place of love, joy, and peace, where all you can see, feel, and experience is good. Even that which may be perceived as unpleasant is viewed by you as enormously beneficial. In other words, when those challenges come up, when you are being asked to become more, it will feel exciting. It may still be difficult, but you will know that on the other side of this challenge, the growth that's going to pour forth into your life will be so worth it that you'll be able to move through that challenge with a better attitude and probably be able to move through it more quickly. Therefore, if you're ready to leave your cares and worries behind, if you're ready to exit the cave of your darkness, and they did not say the darkness created by other people. It is your choice if you allow other people's opinion and the circumstances to make you feel lost, alone, and isolated. It's you, not them. Take responsibility. Get powerful. Go inside. So if you're ready to exit the cave of your darkness, it's time to open up to the unconditional love from Source and receive your ultimate superpower. Nothing will make you more powerful, more of a generous, loving, kind, wonderful person than unconditional love. That does not mean that you're a doormat. You will have learned to set boundaries. You will feel comfortable keeping those boundaries. And you will be at such a high vibration that those people who are coming around you, who were coming around you previously just to suck energy from you, will have no access to you because you're so far above them vibrationally. And I'm not saying that you're a better person or they're a worse person. It just means that you've placed yourself in this beautiful place of unconditional love, in the highest vibration of love, joy, and peace, and you are no longer a vibrational match for those who have yet to make that journey into the higher vibrations. So we're not judging them, we're just stating a fact. You're not available energetically to receive them. But you are available to receive that unconditional love and to expand in new and beautiful and brilliant ways. So let's take a look at exactly what they've shared with us, because if you're anything like me, and I told you earlier, this was a mind blower. It took me a long time to really understand it. But it transformed my life from one of fear to one of incredible joy and much more power. But not power to be used against someone, just power in my own self, power in my belief that I could make a difference for my own self and for others, and that life was happening, anything that was happening was for my benefit. And it completely eliminated fear. So let us remember, everyone is worthy of receiving that unconditional love from the Creator. Those of you who are empaths or highly sensitive people often come to me with a deep sense of unworthiness. This is usually because they could feel the energy of most of the other people around them, and they were not operating in unconditional love, but they were trying to love the people, and they became an easy target. They were down there on those lower vibrations, easy target. Let me be kind, let me be giving, let me. And the person then, the other person, the person who may have been responding to you with hostility, saw that as an open doorway to get out all of their anger and frustration on you. You had basically said, go for it. I'm love, and you can do anything you want to me. And then you develop a really harmful vision of yourself as unworthy. So I want us to really be clear that we do not want to look at ourselves from our humanness and state that we or anyone else is unworthy in any way. Now, that does not mean that everyone's actions are lovable. People may still do and say the wrong things. Your thoughts may not even be lovable. You may be thinking negative, hateful thoughts. And your ego-ruled personality may not even be lovable. You may be acting in a really unlovable way. But the spirit, which is your essence, your authentic self, the you that's really you, will always be worthy of receiving that love. In most cases, the reason that you are acting badly is because you do not feel loved or worthy of love. So get out your blankets of pink and gold light. You don't have to go rushing in. I would rather you didn't, unless you're incredibly strong or guided by the energetic realm to do so, but get out your blanket of pink and gold light, wrap that person in the blanket, and just take a step back energetically. You don't need to go down to their level to make it better for them. They are experiencing what they are experiencing, so they will be motivated to make a change. So you don't have to rush in. It's okay to allow somebody to be going through a tough time. Be supportive and not judgmental, excuse me, but you don't have to fix it for them. So no one is undeserving because God doesn't judge. He doesn't see our small self that's acting out. He doesn't say, oh, well, they're done. That's it for them. Cut off from my love because they made a mistake or they're lost and confused. God simply continues pouring out that love, saying, whenever you're ready, whenever you've come to the end of your personal exploration in isolation, open up to our love, and you will understand that you have been loved and supported the entire time. No one is ever too far gone. Even if they exit this lifetime without making any change in their behavior, got to remember, this is a teeny tiny thing, micro millisecond in our everlasting life. So it was part of their journey. It's okay. Don't feel that God failed them or that they failed God. It's all happening exactly the way it should. Our exploration of separateness is part of that learning. We are more likely to welcome the union after failing in isolation than we would ever be if we never understood how difficult it is to do it on our own. And the other beautiful thing about unconditional love is that it dispels those limiting beliefs and negative thinking. You cannot think that you are unworthy and undeserving or not good enough or a total failure when you are open to unconditional love. You may look at some of your actions and say, that was unworthy, but you won't feel that you need to punish yourself. Instead, you'll say, okay, made a mistake. Let me do what I can to correct it and move forward in a better way. You also get to become the uplifter because you're in this fabulous place of love, joy, and peace. You spend most of your time feeling great, and other people around you also get an opportunity to feel great. And remember, they told us that we always travel the path of least resistance. And that's true whether we're going down the negative path or we're on the path of love, joy, and peace. We tend to stay in the direction that we're going or in the energetic space that we are in unless something comes along to encourage us to change it or to knock us out of the box. So most of us do not wake up and say, oh, I really want to work hard at being something I'm not today. Generally, we just go along the way that we've been going, and until something comes that will encourage us to change. And I think the most wonderful thing of unconditional love is the gratitude that begins pouring forth from you. When I first learned about gratitude many, many, many years ago, I had to remind myself I was in a really bad place. Things were really tight financially. It just seemed like all I did was work and work and work. And I had to remind myself to be grateful. Oh, look, isn't this wonderful that the things that I needed at the grocery store were on sale? Thank you so much. I made gratitude lists. I was reading those lists. I had to, again, get out the whip and remind myself to be grateful, because I hadn't really done anything to change my vibration. I didn't understand any of that. And so I was grateful but resentful. Why should I be grateful that everything is on sale? Why don't I just have more money? I can't work any more hours in the day. It was coming from this self-pity place and trying to force myself to be grateful. But as I began to raise my vibration, I could really see how I was being assisted. And then I suddenly had real reasons to be grateful that I didn't have to force myself to feel. It was my state of being as opposed to a list that I was trying to adhere to. Now, I have a wonderful story to share with you. It's a story about the power of love. Love will always conquer fear. They are opposite emotions, and they cannot coexist in the same place. But human love and fear can exist in the same place. Because human love is, I'm all by myself, but I'm going to be a loving being. Or I have this partner, but what if I lose him? What if something happens and I'll be all alone? That's human love that is steeped in fear. I better do this or they won't love me anymore. It's almost manipulative. Unconditional love allows you to believe in yourself. It shows you you aren't alone and that there isn't anything to fear. Because we never fear being great. We fear being worthless. And unconditional love shows us our value. Now, when you're first stepping away from I'm unworthy into, wow, I came with a purpose and I have value, it can feel a little scary. You can feel like, I don't know if I'm up for this, but it's a good kind of excited kind of scary. It is not, I'm so worthless, I have no value. I have to find someone that can make me valuable. Completely different kind of energy. Yes, you will have to grow into your purpose. Yes, you will have to step out of your comfort zone. And it can feel a little scary. But it won't be